Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in. I am Patrick God, and today we want to have a look at another new .NET 7 Blazor feature. We're talking about new modifiers, binding modifiers called after, get, and set. And the great thing is that with after now, you can call an asynchronous method, for instance, after a specific event happened and a bound value changed, for instance. So this is really nice. And additionally, you can also use the modifiers get and set with your custom components. So really great stuff. And this is what we want to talk about here in this tutorial. If you like it and learned something, I would really appreciate it if you click the like button and maybe even subscribe to my channel. It does make a difference. So thank you very much for that. And additionally, if you want to get more .NET and Blazor stuff, maybe even into your inbox, and information about upcoming online courses like the .NET Web Dev Bootcamp, then consider subscribing to my newsletter. This would be really nice as well. I promise at most I send an email once a week. All right, thank you very much. And now let's start with the tutorial. All right, Visual Studio 2022 it is. It's the preview version because by the time of recording this, .NET 7 is not released yet, but we will use the release candidate 1 for this little .NET 7 Blazor tutorial. We just create a new Blazor WebAssembly application. We call this thing, well, let's say .NET 7 Blazor data binding. Awesome name. Let's click next. And then you see it here, we use the preview version of .NET 7, not .NET 6, because these new modifiers are only available with .NET 7. We use ASP.NET Core hosted because I want to, well, make an HTTP request, a web service call when something is happening with the binding, right? So this is what I want to show you today with these after and get set modifiers. There we are. Let's just close this and close this, and let's just run the application already and have a look at what is happening now at this state. Maybe you've already seen the new loading animation. This is also pretty nice. Made a video about that as well. And where is it on my other screen? I hope. Yeah, there it is. All right. So this is now Blazor WebAssembly with .NET 7. This was the little loading indicator, loading animation. And here's the fetch data page. This is what I want to use here for this tutorial. Let me open the console as well, because with that you see that we are actually making a little request here, right? So when I refresh this, we got this little call, weather forecast, and this is the preview. These are the values. And now the idea behind this tutorial today is that we will have a look here at this fetch data page. And what I want to do is I want to create an input text field, really simple input text field. And when you enter something into this field, then we want to make a call. Now, please bear with me here. The thing with the weather forecast is that it will create new random forecasts with every single call. As you can see here in the weather forecast controller, there it is, right? So every single time you make this call, then it creates new weather forecast, like 5 new. We can also add 50, for instance, doesn't really matter. And still, what I want to do is I want to filter them. So I want to have a look at the summary. I want to enter some text, and this text then will be compared to the summary text. So it's not really a filter on the array, the list of weather forecasts that we currently got there on the client. It will always create new forecasts and then filter them. I think this doesn't really matter for this tutorial here, but with that, I think you also get the idea. Well, so what's the first step? I would say we first create a new method to be available to filter this stuff. So we just leave this get method like it is and copy it and make a new post method. So HTTP post it is. And this thing simply gets a string called search text, for instance, and we want to provide this in the body. So let's say this is now from a body. So now we've got this thing. So we return new weather forecasts again, but we actually don't want to return them first. We want to just get them. So var forecasts is now this stuff here. And in the case, we've got a search text. So if string is null or empty search text, if that's the case, then we return forecasts where, and then F for forecasts, the summary text could be null, I know, but I don't care for now. to lower contains, let's say contains, not starts with, not equals, the search text to lower as well. All right, so what's going on with IntelliSense or IntelliCode? Was actually correct. But anyways, let's just add the to array here. Now this seems to work. And well, if this is not the case, we don't have a search text, then we just return forecasts to array. All right, so let me just pull this down here. So again, we just copied the get method. We create new forecasts. If we have a search text here provided, then we just want to get these values that have this this search text here in the summary as well. Otherwise, we just return the forecast. All the forecasts so similar to this method. So this is the change we have to do here in the controller. Now we need the search text variable on the client. So let's just save this first and we move to the fetch data page. So here we've got our table, here we've got our actual call, and now up here above the table, I want to add the input field, but first for that we need again the actual variable, the search text. So down here, let's just add private string search text it is again, and by default this is just an empty string. All right, and now to be able to make the actual call, we need another method, and this is now new. Well, it is not new in the case that we write this method, but that we can use this thing. So it's an async task. Call this simply search. And this method now looks like that. So the result first is await HTTP, and now post. Remember, this is now a post method. So post as JSON async, and we send a string with this thing. And here now the controller name. So the URL is still weather forecast, and our object now is the search text. My machine is kind of slow today. I don't know what is going on. Maybe it needs more coffee like me. But anyways, and here now we say the forecasts are await result, come on, content, and then read from JSON async, and again this is a weather forecast array. All right, so something like that. Now, how would you do that with .NET 6 and not the new modifiers? Well, what you could do is you just add the input like that and say I want to bind this to my beautiful search text variable. And then we close this. And then, of course, what we can use is a button, right? So simply add a button, and on click, we just say we call our search method, and we call this also search, and that's it. All right. So with that, this actually already works. Yes, we want to rebuild and apply the changes. Of course, Visual Studio, we want to do that. Sweet, new hot reload. And I'd say let's have a look, right? So here we are. We've got our cute little input field and the search thing. When we now click search, we are actually making this call, and you can see here it's already the post call. But now, what about cool? Can I press enter here? I have to press the search button, and now it is filtering. I've got all the cool values. Isn't that nice, right? So here you see it. This is the post, and well, here in the payload, of course, we have, this is the wrong call. Here we have got the cool text. All right, but now with .NET 7, I want to change that. I don't want to use this button here. I want to make this call, for instance, when I've entered something and then press enter. So to be more exact, with the on change event, I want to do this. And how would I do this? Well, I just remove the button here, and then I say bind after, this is the new stuff here, and then search. So let's save this, have another look. There we are. Now I just enter cool, I press enter, for instance, and it works. What if I tab out of this thing. For instance, I remove the L, tab out. Then we've also got a non-change. What about chill, tab? Now I've got chili values. Isn't that nice? So I think this is already really, really nice. But it's getting even better. You can also change the event you want to call this method here. And for that, you just add bind event. And now let's say I want to do this on input. So whenever I type something in, I want to make this call here. So let's have another look. Just refresh to be sure. We removed this, or cleared the log here, and now COOL. Isn't that nice? And every single time we make a call, right, with cool again, COO, and so on. So I think this is really, this is just amazing. I love this. I really love this. You can do lots of stuff with that. And remember, we are getting new values here. So if you just fast forward to this place here, we are not actually filtering the stuff here on the client. With every call, we are creating new weather forecasts, and this is why the amount of weather forecasts here change every single time, because these are new. Well, this is new data, right? Okay, so this is already nice, but now I promise to also show you the new get and set modifiers. So what is this stuff? Well, for instance, you want to use this input on other places as well, and you don't want to, well, just copy and paste this. You want to, for instance, don't want to write every single time that the event is actually the on input event and not the on change event, which is the default thing. So maybe you want to create a component, a search component, a custom search component for this case. You want to create it by yourself. So what can you do? Well, just build this thing first. In the shared folder, we add a new Razor component, and we call this search input, for instance. And now what you need is two parameters. First, the value you want to bind, and then also an event callback. And with this event callback, then, well, Blazor knows that something is or was happening here, and this is then put through the chain of the components, and then we can use the after modifier again. But let's start with the parameters here. First thing, the property. You can choose any name you want. Default is the value, the name value. But maybe to make this more clear, let's use another one. So here it's called search text, all right? And let's also say by default this thing is simply empty. And now another one is again the event callback. So event callback, and this is also then a string here. And this is now important. We have to use the term of the actual value of the first parameter and then just add the term changed. So this is the convention here, search text changed, and then this works. This here is really important. So changed and also search text. This should be the same thing as you entered here. And now last thing, very important again, parameter. So this is a parameter. We have to use this as a parameter. And now here you can of course do whatever you want, but in our case it's a simple input again with bind event now on input. This is what we want to change, right? So you want to use this event. And now get and set. This is important. For the bind get, we just want to get the value here of our search text variable or property. And then on set, we now use the event callback. So bind set, and this is then search text changed. All right, and that's it. That's it already. So with that, you have your custom component. We can save this. And now on the fetch data page, instead of this input here, we just use our search input. And now this is a little different, the syntax. We say bind, and now you see it here already, bind search text. Maybe when you have a little experience with Blazor already, maybe you know something like that, right? There is this input text component, this built-in component like input file, input select, whatever it is, input checkbox, and yeah, input text it is. And now here you can say bind, that was bind value, right? So maybe you've seen that already. With that now, this is a little different because we wrote this stuff. So search input and now bind search text. And if we would choose the name value, for instance, like that. Then you would also have to enter value changed, right? And change this here as well. And then here IntelliSense would suggest bind value. Okay, I hope this is clear now. And for that, we say, yeah, again, our search text. And regarding our event, we say bind search text after, and then search. All right. Big difference now here is, of course, for one, the name of this whole thing and how you bind the variable here, the value. And you do not have to specify the event because you do this now in your component itself, right? So if you want to change it, or if you want to use it on a couple of different places, and then you think, on input is not the best event, maybe I want to change that, and you just change it here on this place and not on 10 places maybe. All right, so this is the ID here, and Visual Studio doesn't know what's going on here. So let's just restart the application manually. And there it is. Now this is our new component. And let's say again, we want to see hot weather now, and there it is already. Isn't that nice? So this works now even with our custom component, HOT. Nice. So that's it. These are now the new modifiers after set and get. And I will push this to GitHub now, and the link, as always, is in the video description. So there you have it, after get and set. Great new stuff in .NET 7 Blazor. I hope you learned something and this is useful to you. In this case, it would be really nice if you click the like button, maybe subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. And maybe you want to consider subscribing to my newsletter for more of these videos in your inbox, and also more information about .NET and Blazor and upcoming online courses like the .NET Web Dev Bootcamp. And additionally, if you just want to watch more tutorials here on YouTube, then please consider watching these videos here on the side. I've got lots of .NET and Blazor stuff here on my channel. Just hang out a little, watch a video and another one, and then you will know lots and lots of stuff regarding .NET and Blazor. So again, thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope I see you next time. Take care.